Are you ready for Ragnarok? Welcome back to Cocky Gachas, and in this video I'm going to touch on the pet system because in Ragnarok Origin Global, pets are an extremely huge part in this game. In fact, I would say that for the most part of the early mid game, the pets, if you were to get an S rank pet, it will be even stronger than you. Hence, I think that it's extremely important to answer some of the queries that people have regarding the pet system. I see a lot of people being confused about pet system because there's a lack of answers, and the game doesn't outright tell you these answers as well. So first things first, we're going to start with the stats, and this one is something that most people would kind of get, and that is that they would have to train their pets. But if you're a brand new beginner, you wouldn't know how to do it. So you can see if I were to go click on one of the pets that is something that I've never trained before. Look at this Auto, for instance, right? So these are the default stats. So to train them, just have to click on the training button, and here you'll be brought to this page, and you do need the Spirit Dew, and the main source of Spirit Dew you would get is through the dailies and also mainly from Elheim Tower itself. So every time you clear the tower, you will get a couple of these dews, but I would advise you guys to avoid using too many of those on the lower tier pets, because you really want to focus your efforts on the higher tier pets or the useful lower tier ones, right? You don't want to use it on every single one of them just to boost their DP. It's really not needed, so try to save them. And for the S rank pets, you need to use 2 of those at a time instead of 1, so there is something that you guys would have to take note of. So what stats do you want on your pets? That's something that people might ask, but in this video I tried to touch on the systems. I might cover this one in another video, but just a general guideline: if you have a tanky pet, obviously copy the stats that you have on your characters. It works exactly the same. So for the tanky pets, you want Vit, you probably want Dex as well as Luck. So for Dex and Luck, it's also important because the Dex gives you extra physical defense, and then Luck gives you the crit resistance. So these are the main stats that you want for tanky pets. And then for the more offensive pets, you definitely want Strength, you want Agi, you want Luck, right? Because it's crit, it's attack speed, it's damage itself. So for the magical attack pets, right, then you would want Intel and you want Dex for casting probably. However, do note that from a pet front, I would suggest for focus onto Vit regardless of what kind of pet it is, because the HP stat is going to be very, very important. If your pet dies in like 2 strikes, then you are not going to be able to utilize any of the DPS that you are going to offer, regardless of how high your strength, your Agi, or Luck is. So moving on, next I'm going to touch on the deployment. People might not understand what exactly deployment means and what assist means. So for deployment, here you can see I have 4 pets. These are the 4 pets that you have on rotation, right? So these are the pets that you can deploy, and you would be able to switch towards them or switch into them on a whim. So you can just switch into the Earth Lord like this, and then you can switch into the other pets after a cooldown. However, for your assist pets, right, you are going to see that you are not going to be able to utilize them, and people are very confused what exactly do assist pets do. And the assist pets here, right, strictly provide stat bonuses to your character itself, but the deployment pets do not provide any stat contribution to your character. So deployment pets are the pets being themselves utilizing their own skills, utilizing their own stats. However, the assist pets is them trying to assist your character itself, but their own power has nothing to do with it. So if you were to look at the stat preview here, you would notice that these are the extra stats that are being given to your character based off the assist pets that you have allocated. And as you level up, you unlock more of the assist slots, just as you would for the deployment slots. However, something that people might also be confused, like what exactly do the DP means? How come when I would to put in like a chi pet, so for instance here, right, I can remove the pouring and I put on the chi pet, I would technically have higher DP, but is that really real? The answer is no. This is false, this is the fake DP, and this does absolutely nothing to help you contribute to the stats of your characters. In fact, if you were to compare the stats right now, you can see that it's much lower once I sucked in the chi pet, although this is a higher DP pet compared to the pouring, which only gives me like 200 or 300 power. But what determines what amount of stats you're going to get is based on the tier as well as the pet rank itself. So C tier pets at tier 10 is going to be a lot better than B tier or B rank pets at tier 6. However, the exact comparisons, you have to like put in the pets and then you have to compare it, right? So just for comparison's sake, for each of the pets, you can click on them also to see what kind of stats they provide to you. And if you were to just compare them to like a B tier, for instance, right now I'll compare them to a B tier raccoon. So Smokey, I'm just going to try to put it in while I'm in combat. So here you can see, right, the stats given by the Smokey is much less. However, the rank also plays an important part, right? So if we were to compare a chi pet, so it's rank A and it's tier 4, right, it gives me 120 HP, 19 SP, as well as 3 attack magic attack. If I were to compare it to the same tier, right, tier 4 again, but this time a Munnak which is rank B, you can see that it does give less stats, right, 30 HP as well as 1 attack and magic attack. So there is a difference, so you do have to compare it based on the tier, the rank itself, to determine what kind of stats it gives you. But outside of that, it doesn't matter. You don't have to level your pets on the assist. You can completely focus on the deployment pets only. But if you really want to like pump up your DP just so that you can be accepted way easier into parties, then you do you, right? So I wouldn't really fault you, because you can see that I also did level up my pets itself, and I did give them like pet equipment so that they would have a bit more DP. And honestly, DP is like a very like a cutthroat thing. Like, so if you have a lack of DP, people would kind of look down on you and they wouldn't want to recruit you into some parties, which is why I would say that don't blame the player itself, right? Blame the game, blame the system, right? This is nothing to do with the player. If players are driven towards accepting people with higher DP, then you just have to game the system, since the system wants to play this in you. I have in fact checked also against my own stats to confirm that this is indeed the case, right? There are no changes at all when it comes to higher DP, except for just the DP number going up. There are no stats being changed if you were to sub in a higher DP. So this is not just something that I've tested it out quite minimally. I've actually tried all ways to compare all the stats, and in fact it has brought me to the same conclusion. Only the tier and the rank matters. Nothing else matters. Pet equipment doesn't matter at all. Now, speaking of the pet equipment, how do you obtain pet equipment itself? So I believe that this system is being unlocked on during your level 60s. I'm not exactly sure. I forgot which level it is exactly that you unlock Portal Dreamland, but this is the system where you can obtain pet equipment. And how does this system actually work? So this system works by the fact that there are different sets of equipment that you can equip on your pets, and they give different bonuses based on 2 pieces and 4 pieces set. And in total, you can equip 6 pieces of equipment. So the most optimal one would be 4 pieces of one set, and then going with a 2 piece of the other set. So it's very simple, straightforward system. However, something to take note that something that I also wasn't aware of, and I did waste some of these tickets, is that there is a cap for these tickets. And how do you obtain these tickets? In fact, if you were to go into the Hollow Dreamland, there is a description over here, right? So you can see that every day they will give you 3 extra tickets that you can use, right? However, they are going to cap it at 10. So once you reach 10, if you were to not use them, you are not going to be able to obtain any more free ones. Hence, definitely note that you have to spend your tickets every couple of days so that you do not cap out, and that is very important. So if you really don't have time to play, I have another suggestion for you guys, and that is to go into the combine section. So if you were to find any of your coins, right, just go click on combine, right, and then you would to scroll all the way up. You should be able to see something called the advanced ticket. So for me here, I do not have the option because I don't have any more tickets to combine. If you can see over here, I did spend left with 1, right? So you can click on the plus system, you can click on combine. So over here, right, given that I don't have, I cannot combine. But if you to have 2 tickets or more, you can combine them into this advanced one, which basically means that you get 2 times the rewards every time you enter the instance itself with your advanced tickets. So you can convert all of your normal ones into advanced one and then pack them up. So every few days you can use up the advanced ones with the normal ones, and then this will extend the period that you can have to not play the game mode itself if you're really busy, right? So this is something that I would do. There is an upper cap of 5 advanced tickets, and I'm not wrong. So 10 normal tickets cap and then 5 advanced ticket cap is what you need to take note of. So you just want to clear to tier 6 and then start farming, right? That is very important. And then just for general outline, I'm not going to cover in this video again what kind of optimal equipment sets are for which pets, but generally you do want to have this one, right, this set which gives you more HP for tank pets, right? Very self-explanatory why you want this. So you want the 4 set over here, and then for your 2 set you would just get the SP recovery one, because the rest of those are not very important for a tank. And then also for the units that are relying on the crit itself, they are relying on DPS, you're trying to do single target DPS, you do want to have at lower levels the attack speed as well as the crit set. So you want the 4 crit set and then go with the attack speed one. For the S pets with higher stars, right, you do want this set which increases your stats based on how many stars that you have on your training, right? So this is for the higher tier pets. Usually S pets would want this when they have numerous number of stars after the training is done. So this is the 4 set here, and then you would go with the 2 crit set, right? So you get extra crit over here. So this is what normally people go with. There isn't much flexibility when it comes to this, right? There's not a lot of sets anyway. So this is what people go with. And then you can see that the team is unavailable today. So different days would have different teams unlocked. They have the days specified here. And on Sundays, all teams would be available. Now that I'm done talking about how to obtain this equipment, there is other aspects of equipment that you have to take note of that I'm going to touch on right now. So you can see this is the equipment tab that you would have. And to equip the equipment, you just have to click on replace, and then you should be able to find your equipments over here, right, based on the different slots, and you would have different equipment and from your various sets. You can also click on this, and then they would like not sort based on the different sets, so that it will be easier for you to like look for the various stats that you want for your pets and for the specific slot itself. Once again, not going to touch on like the prefixes and stuff that you want to have for each and every pet. It's going to be a lot going into that. But what I want to touch on is the refining system. So you can see right here, right, every pet equipment would have the various stats. They would have the primary stats, they would have the bonus stats. So how do you know which stats are available on which equipment? Click on the question mark, and here it will tell you the upper limit as well as the lower limit, and also which stats are available based on this piece of equipment. So every slot would have different presets and prefixes that you would be allowed to obtain on your pet equipment. But one more thing that you might notice is that, hey, there is different rarity to the pet equipment. What exactly does it mean, right? So for this itself, unfortunately, what I have found is that it doesn't really make that much of a difference in my opinion. So I've compared a lot of this pet equipments whereby there is higher rarity, right, and then compare it to something that is of a lower rarity. It's exactly the same, right? So honestly, I haven't found an answer yet. I've tried to search for Discord, I've tried to search on the internet. There is no information on what exactly the rarity contributes to. I can only guess that if you were to have a higher rarity, right, then you would have a higher chance of getting this golden stats itself, right, this rarer stats. So this is what I would guess. But I've also seen on the like normal ones whereby you can also obtain this, right? So I don't exactly know what's the difference. You can see most of my equipment is in fact using a non-golden one, because the stats basically contributes more to the rarity, right? I don't think that the rarity plays any part when it comes to pet equipment. If you want the best pet equipment, you should try to sort by the stats that you want to look for. So this is what I would advise you to do. So the other part that I want people to know about this refinement is that when you refine a pet equipment, right, for every 3 levels, right, you enhance the pet equipment. It's just like your normal refinement. You have a success rate, and also for every 3 levels you would get an additional secondary stat. So for all the additional secondary stats, right, it will come from this bar itself. So these are the bonus stats. So you obtain an additional bonus stats. And what is very interesting and what is very important for you to know is that you can obtain a duplicate one that you already have on this equipment. So you can, if you really want like CD acceleration, right? So for instance, my Earthlord here definitely wants a lot of CD acceleration. So you just have to look for one with the CD acceleration. And then if you were to enhance every 3 levels, there is a chance that you can get even more CD acceleration. You can also get basic stats upgrade, but I do think that most likely it will fall into the bonus stats. So you definitely want to get as high of the CD acceleration as possible if you are on those skills that are very, very important, right? Especially like Earthlord, especially like Squid Gate, whereby you want to activate their skills as much as possible. So you want more CD acceleration. Try to find equipment with this, and then try to see whether your luck lands on this itself, right? If it doesn't, there is still opportunity for you to land on other good stats. Like for instance, this piece of equipment landed on HP, which is also important for a Earthlord. So I would say that every 3 levels is where you want to play the luck. If you really want to min-max, right? Because if you were to just look at this upgrading system itself, if you were to enhance this, you can see that it takes you very little of this material for you to enhance to level 3. So I think it's 8, 15 and then 60. So very little material for you to go to level 3 just to see what kind of stats you are going to get. So if you have like a couple of your equipment with the same exact secondary bonus stats, right, they just differ a bit in the stats itself, the value itself, right, try to like level them up all to level 3 to see what kind of secondary bonus stats they would obtain before deciding which one to continue upgrading further. So this is what I would advise you guys to do. So every 3 levels you can get additional stats, so there is benefit for you to go to +9 and then subsequently you can go to +10, +11, +12. I'm not exactly sure what is the upper limit, I haven't hit it yet, but for most people I would say that it's going to be very difficult for you to hit the upper limit. You would want to, as much as possible, equip multiple pieces of gear to +9 first before you proceed even further. So I haven't even reached that stage, to be honest. But one thing to note right here, a lot of people is also confused about this. You can see that the enhancement success rate is 60%. So what happens if you fail, right? If I were to just click on enhance here, it says that the enhancement is not guaranteed to succeed. You will lose the corresponding items if the enhancement fails. Confirm and enhance. So people are afraid that losing the corresponding items means that you would lose this piece of gear. Please be assured this doesn't happen. What it means that you will lose all these refinement materials itself and then you will fail. You just have to keep spamming until you succeed. So there is no penalty for you in terms of losing your item. There is no chance for it to be destroyed, so to speak, right? So this is something that is very safe. Do not be afraid, guys. Just refine away. But this material, people might ask, how do you get it, right? So they say that this is from pet equipment dismantling, and exactly this is the only way to obtain it. So I would say that although the rarity doesn't play any part of any significance I found thus far, what my strategy is still very simple, right? So I would just try to dismantle all the normal ones. You can see I've dismantled all the normal ones, but some of the normal ones are actually very good, like I mentioned, right? Because they provide valuable stats and they can be even better than the higher rarity ones. So how do you prevent the problem from you dismantling the important ones or the good ones? What I would suggest is to first, very tediously, you have to equip the ones that you want on your pet itself first, so that they would not fall into the dismantling chunk, right? So if you were to go into dismantling, you wouldn't be able to dismantle something that you've equipped. So filter all the good ones, equip them on your pets itself, and then subsequently just choose the rare ones, click on quick add to select all of them, right? So if I click on rare right now, I can just quick add all of them and then they would dismantle and give me this values itself. So this is something that for people to note. I would just try to go with the normal one, although like I mentioned, my rarity I haven't found what exactly it means, but there is always going to be a point to it, right? So I'll try to just dismantle the normal ones first and then work my way up to the rare ones, ones that I don't really want, and then going up to precious. And that about does it for this video when I touch on the pet system guide. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, if you're interested in seeing a Sin X meta build, right, in fact I would say that one of the best ones in the game right now, definitely check out this video over here. I'll see you guys over there. This is Corgi Gachas, signing off.